That is completely fair. Would you like to start with one?
Hi, you had follow-up questions about Khalidi. Why don't you start us off?
You guys discussed what was happening there with the fields that pockets of mana. You guys stated that you observed it elsewhere. Can you tell me what you were trying to look for there? I know with Khalidi, there was the ley line.
You mean in general what we're looking for? Or specifically in colluding?
In general, with those pockets.
Larger amounts of energy that can be taken and siphoned where it needs to go.
Where exactly does it need to go?
Where we can store it.
How?
I can't tell you the details of how. But we do have ways of storing it. So that it can be used, hopefully.
Well, let's move on to the next one then. Why? Why the storage exactly?
We'll do his what purpose first, which I guess is also a why.
That works.
The kind of, I wouldn't even call it a creature, the kind of being, entity, whatever you want to call it, that the immortal is attempting to have us help him with. It is something that we would need a very large store of energy to deal with. In whatever way we end up finding to deal with it. It is not something that can be taken lightly. It is not something that your average mage, or even a great mage on their own, would be able to handle. So we are storing up what we can to use it for when we find a way.
Magic without purpose has disasters as a consequence. Is your corps prepared for that?
We've dealt with some backlash from it before. We're constantly finding new ways of storing it.
Can't turn him up.
Better ways. Sometimes some not better, but we're learning from it.
Are you aiming to seal or destroy whatever this threat is?
Whatever we need to do to it.
I feel like you've had a few centuries, if not more, to decide what your aim is. How exactly do you intend to deal or mitigate with it other than raw magic?
There are a couple theories. Like you said, sealing is one of the theories. Being that if it is however it is now, and at one point it wasn't like it is now, then it probably was sealed in the past. But if it's hasn't been sealed before and it's like it is waking up for the first time or something like that, then we can try to figure out ways of sealing it and looking into other things that have been sealed in the past. But there is nothing that we can find that is a close correlation to how big this seems to be. Sealing it is probably going to be the option. from, as far as I understand, I do not believe destroying it will work.
What is
Does
the
it
nature of?
Does it originate from here? Or beyond this plane?
Blue hair first. He's been trying to ask something.
Just one thing. Maybe more, depending on your answer. Have you yourself learnt the information behind what this is and what makes it so dangerous as an individual, as opposed to being told it? Do you know for sure it actually is the scale of what you think it is?
I've only been told what I need to know to be able to continue what I do in a sane state of mind.
I see.
I have theories, but at the moment there's nothing I can solidify or confirm entirely.
That does make sense. A mental state.
The things that I have learned do not pertain to the being itself. The things I have learned pertain to other people or deal with. And different ways people did deal with them.
Curiosity, of course, considering it was mentioned the last time I... people. Are you positive there is actually a way to shield an individual from the effects? Like your leader claimed there to be. Is that possible?
I think it is entirely possible. I would have used it already if I did.
Wasn't asking that.
Although, there's a place with a artifact. How do I put that?
Properties, I imagine.
Side effects?
Properties, location, where it is something. Answer to that. Although I'm not allowed to go there right now.
What Why is it that we are being told to go?
It has been left for you.
Oh, yippee.
I believe at least, if it were to settle your mind, confirming the effects of something that without any more hypotheticals being spewed regardless of the reason, is beneficial. At least we'd know in some way what you're saying is true. Because right now, it's just hearsay. Thank you for the opportunity.
I understand.
You know, I might have missed it, but how does your boss know about this being again?
That I do not know.
Oh. Well, do you have anything about what it did the last time it was active or free or awake, or how we know so much about it?
There are signs in the world of things that are probably much greater than any of us, any creature. There are marks on the world itself that lead to theories. Again, just theories.
So you keep using that word. Why don't you voice your top 3?
In relation to
Because
what
we
it
have-
is, in relation to how to deal with it.
Let's start with what it is, or at least what effects you are expecting to need to mitigate or guard against.
I've had a couple arguments with other mages on this. I personally believe that it is a creature or being probably made entirely of either a concentrated state of mana or life. It's the only other thing I could think of as to why there'd be no information on it, no anything, something way back in the world's history that's even farther than maybe us as beings. My other theory is that it is something that was put together, pieced together bit by bit by someone or something, and that whenever it destabilized, it was sealed away.
Yeah, something on
And
that.
maybe that destabilization is weakening whatever it's on. Sorry, apologies.
No, you're fine. So, you mentioned that before it was sealed, and more than likely, you're gonna have to do it again. In my eyes, if it
said
exists, it could
maybe.
be killed. Right. But in my eyes, if it existed, it'd be killed. And let's say in the past there was no way to kill it. Usually sealing it means there's a potential foot to try and find something to kill it while it is inactive. Have you found anything
Assuming
of
it's
that
a
sort?
being and not a magical phenomenon.
Right.
It'd
If it
be
is a
like trying to
being,
kill the sun.
maybe.
I'm putting towards trying to seal it, as I feel like we have a much higher chance of trying to seal it than trying to kill it. There are others who are looking into ways of disrupting it, pulling it apart again, and trying to figure out how we would deal with such aftermaths, but those are not part of my studies.
It could be that one plane. What was it that he talked about? I'm trying to remember. What was it called? The one that made you go insane. What was it?
Shadowfell?
All those?
I
Hmm.
don't believe that makes you go insane, necessarily, though
No.
there are definitely things there that could have that effect.
I mean, that's what Maskey talked about.
The basis of the studies. You were saying
You have a guild member from the Shadowfell. I don't believe that's it.
Hmm.
Here. Do you know where this phenomenon is originating from? From here? Or from beyond what we can comprehend?
That I'm not sure of. If it was something that originated from here, I feel like it would be, at least from here as we understand it, would be easier to find evidence of and documentation of and ways of dealing with it than something that is not necessarily from what we think of as here.
Yes, because then it would have to have started here.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Would have to have started here then. If it's left its marks, but we have no idea whatsoever. So much so that we take it as fact or as a rule of the place that we live in.
It's either maybe it started here. It's either it started here or it is currently somewhere at least close to this plane, as where we are has the most theoretical evidence of what I think would be signs of it existing.
these monks that it left on the world? Can you tell us about them?
Trying to figure out which one would be. How would I do that either? I guess the easiest one for me to pick out would be ley lines themselves. Maybe both, depending on how old the artificial ones are. But I'm talking more on the natural ones. There are some sections of ley lines that are purely magic. Just pure life energy, pure magic. And then there are some sections of it that seem to have more emotion attached to them. As weird as that is to say. It's my main one of it, is that maybe when this being, if we went with the destabilization theory, that maybe when this being destabilized, it scarred the land with part of its essence. And that would be ley
Which
lines.
emotions?
A very big variety. There's no consistency in them, but usually those sections are filled with it. Someone is too close to it, it could cause issues for them. But most people can't get that close to them.
What is the nature of the threat that this poses? Is it domination? Is it annihilation? Is it rampant madness or loss of mana to the point of death? What sort of end of the world type of threat have you been guarding against?
I believe it is going to be not necessarily annihilation. Maybe more in the lines of domination, but not in the sense of someone, forcing someone else to do something. I think it is going to be that the ley lines would become, that they would overflow.
Unstable.
So what, we become a second Feywild? Rampant magic
I believe
everywhere?
worse. I believe much worse. I believe that there is nothing that would be able to fully stabilize it if it were to come to be. At least the Feywilds has a smidgen of stabilization to it, where beings, whether them humanoid or not, can sustain themselves there. I don't think beings would be able to sustain themselves in the amount of overflow that would happen.
Incarnation.
I'm sorry. You seem a lot more on edge. Well, actually, it would make sense for you to be, this help a little bit to not be as... I don't...
There's a lot
Never
of
mind. Forget I
history
asked.
at play, and I guess that gives birth to a question I have been nursing, which is that if you're willing to try everything, up to and including sieging several cities, why are we the organization that you're reaching out to rather than heads of state or their, religious order cropping up in Karudo? Wouldn't that give your cause more legitimacy and aid?
Yes, but at the same time, I mean, you guys are here. Or even after everything between us, you were here listening. We would not properly have that chance with any other group.
You say that, but the thing that causes my doubt, initially, we wouldn't have had bad blood initially if, well, when we first encountered each other, it was handled a little bit more appropriate. On top of that, at the time, the only people that knew about you were pretty much us and a small other. Theoretically, you wouldn't have had so many bad things put on your name, which would have made it a little bit easier to potentially enlist others to your aid, no? Yet you started.
If you were given a job, a quest, to protect a very large thing that you know is going to help a lot of people, and some random group came up to you, were demanding to know exactly what it is, and you know that if you tell them, they're probably going to try and kill you to think that you were crazy.
So you say
I
it
think
would
you're
help a lot of people.
vastly overestimating what we consider crazy at this point.
Yes. You say
Maybe
it would
around
help
then.
a lot of people, but we didn't get even a chance to really talk about it. To even think about if it could be good. It was just met with immediate lethal force, which, as you can
That's
imagine...
not something that we're supposed to talk about.
So helping the people is a bad thing, right? Or at least announcing it to them.
Yone?
People make rash decisions with information of little tiny bits when you can't give them the whole thing. So I apologize that we have not been able to give you everything.
For a going time, we did consider that it was all just a big lie because literally the central figure of a cult, a patron who benefited from a major following, was the source.
I can see how that would seem that way.
I mean, it only got him an army.
Did you have any other questions? Oh, sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
That you guys have committed. To what end were these methods employed? Was it all to find this battery that they store this magical energy?
Not all of them. Some of them were to try to help create a weapon to destroy it if we could. Some of them were to try and get a better understanding of how different magics intertwine with each other. Some of them were helping us find better ways of storage. Some of them were better ways of us trying to find better things to pull from.
Which one were the cannibals?
I believe that was more research on the effects of different magics and different materials and creatures and beings.
I have a
Your
question.
yes? Wait, Chelsea.
You might not know this, but based on what I've heard, what you've said, and what I was personally told by the Immortal, you really do have absolutely no restrictions in what you're willing to do you? I've already been told full well that whatever information you're trying to go after, and whatever thing you're going after, makes any sentient being that knows it completely and utterly mentally insane. And in knowing this, you were sent out to experiment on multiple species, knowing full well that regardless of the fact, they would probably go completely mad. Is that true?
I don't believe any of them were meant to hold the information.
Uh-huh. So you're insinuating you had countermeasures to try and protect these, experiments, was it? Your words, not mine.
No, I
And they
believe she's
just don't-
insinuating
No, they
were
never
meant to
intended to
access
tell them
that
anything.
information. The
They were just
insanity of the
materials.
calculated risk.
They're just
Well.
materials. They never were going to tell them anything.
If that is the case, my only question is, how on earth would they have learnt such information, considering so little people are even aware of it in the first place that can recite it back to them? That
No,
isn't
the
something that just
experiments
gets
weren't
out.
involving the information. It was the interplay of magic, its effects, how it could be used
Magic,
in
yes.
other constructions.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't gotten to a
Is
point
that
where
an
we'd be
apt
able
description?
to... Yes. We had not gotten to a point where we would be able to try and find a way of being able to distribute the information safely. We are still more in the basics when it comes to that.
If you had found a means to contain or attack, I assume the going plan was to put the trigger, so to speak, in the hands of the immortal, since he likely wouldn't go immediately insane upon the descent of whatever this threat is in 3 to 10 years.
It would go to him first, and then he would be able to either use it to handle it himself, or use it to find a way for the rest of us to be able to assist him better.
So you're not even going to be there during the actual bit you're all working for. Or working toward, more.
I might not be. I know that. You seemed like you had another question.
A few.
Proceed.
Has he guided your areas of research at all, based on him having the knowledge and you being unable to access it?
Yes.
If you had to guess, what would you say his game plan is? Should it happen tomorrow, let's say?
I believe his only choice would be to seal it. In any way he can
what
possibly
magic
think.
you stored?
Using what magic we stored and what knowledge we've gathered so far. It would be incomplete, and he would know that. But he would still try. No matter what the cost would be to him. Even if he was finally torn apart.
Has he seen it before? Or did he only come into contact with the knowledge?
I'm not sure. But the way he talks about it very little. Of course, to keep the information from infecting anyone. But the way he talks about it seems a lot more like a person who knows very well what it is.
Why exactly can he have the information? Why exactly is he immune to its effects? Does he know?
I don't know if he knows, but I do not know. I know he has been around a lot longer than any Null should be able to be. He's My guess is that if he is someone who somehow came in contact with it, then maybe it tempered him. Or something of that sort. Or maybe he came in contact with something that tempered him. Anyway. But I do not have that information.
I got a question regarding this sealing method again, if you don't mind me proposing something to you. So, theoretically, if this being was so powerful that it can only be sealed, in the first place, from what it sounds like, you need to gather a bunch of energy outside of just one, maybe two people that are very capable beings. I don't think that thing would just let them go around the world and build
We
up
don't
a
know
bunch
if it
of
has
mana
a will.
before you cast it.
What if it's just a
Well.
phenomena?
And we don't know the size.
Not a thing, it just is.
If it just bursts out of the ley lines, nowhere's really safe.
And if it is a being or, well, an entity that does have a will, then that would lead more into my theory of that something sealed it before.
Right. And if it takes this much power to do so, if it had the will, I can promise you it wouldn't just allow people to coalesce a bunch of power in order to do the sealing. At least watch it happen. Meaning someone was very capable before then. Something that could potentially be learned, no?
That is the idea, yeah. That is the hope.
How is the past and purpose of your organization laid out to you?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Would you like to try and rephrase it?
So, you are part of an organization and you fully believe in your purpose. How is this
Yes.
purpose taught to you, other than the immortal just saying that there was a threat?
What sold you on it? What enlisted you?
You are
It
in
is
an
the
organization
others.
based on faith. Where does your faith come from?
The people that we keep.
Where does their faith come from?
Each of them is different. I will be honest, some of them do not truly have faith. They follow what they think is easy power.
Noted.
And then there are
Do you have
others
a
who... There are others who follow them for various reasons. I no longer remember why I started. It's been a very long time.
Forgive me for asking, but could I get an estimate of how long this has been for you?
One, two, three. I do not know how many bodies. I apologize.
So you've transferred bodies as well.
The core of my body is still mine.
And grafted onto.
Do you build them or do you take them?
I do not understand.
Where you get your bodies?
There are those who
Unless I
fall.
misunderstood.
When the immortal speaks at the end, does he talk about it as if it's a phenomenon? Or does he talk about it as if it's a thing? Being.
He chooses his wording so carefully that it is very hard to discern.
Is there
Are there any
expected to be
experiments?
a slow lead up or a sudden event with no forewarning?
I believe we are in the slow lead up right now.
Are there any attempts to recreate what kind of being the immortal is? I mean, he can withstand the knowledge. Why not just make more of him?
None of my learnings have been on such a thing. The
I mean, that's where I would have
closest
started.
could say is repairing of myself would be the very closest.
I'm just more confused why he hasn't done it.
It could be something outside of his capabilities. Even creatures of immense power, gods and such, have their limits in one way or another.
There are taboos and consequences.
There are always consequences.
Can you give any evidence that dictates that we are in the phase of a slow build-up?
That is just a guess on my part. A
The immortal.
educated guess, but a guess nonetheless, not even a theory.
I'm assuming you're was a mage. Studied, I assume. Familiar with magics. The immortal is
I have
wielded
studied for a very long time.
in any form of magics. Some sort of innate spell that he's exuding, I suppose.
I try not to look directly at him too often. But
Does it hurt? Or is it confusing? Is it too bright to see?
I have a
Can you see
hard
that?
time not seeing the way I do. Most of what I've seen from him is transmutation and evocation.
How do you see?
With my eyes?
Right,
You
but it's
phrased
not
it as
normal to
seeing the
hurt
way
someone.
you do. What was the implication there?
I see what magic you hold.
There we go. What was your hope or instruction for this meeting?
My instruction was to answer your questions and do not fight back if it comes to it. Which I agreed to wholeheartedly.
Oh,
My hope. My hope is that you will be able to find a way to be able to understand. And I hope that you are able to find a better way than we can. That does not take as much as we have to.
You do understand, even if we put ourselves to this task, if a town or a city or a village or an innocent person is put at risk due to your efforts, we still most likely will get in the way.
I don't think we would expect anything else from you. You are doing what you believe to be the best course of action.
When all is said and done, the people recognize that the blood that has been shed will not be forgotten. Yes.
It is understandable. And for many, it lays on both sides.
Someone grafted dragon's bane into a plant null recently. Was that the work of any of yours?
How recent?
Within a few months.
Do you know where?
It would have been this side of the continents.
I believe
Western,
it was just
not
south.
eastern.
That kind of research was supposed to be halted a good long time ago.
Do you have any defectors?
I do not personally know of any, however, logically, it is plausible.
Or is it that your
Idle
group
thought.
did not
Keep
do
going.
their due diligence?
I know of one.
Clean up the mess that they created?
It could be many of things, and many of factors.
Noted.
Is there any other questions any of you would like to ask? I will not keep you if you wish to go. Mm,
I like knowing names.
technically, no. Not anymore.
What caused
Shame.
you to
Are you
lose it?
just referred to as the Dread Mage?
No. Harp is what some others call me. I know it is not my name. But they like to use it, so I let them.
Noted.
Any other questions?
I see you want to indulge me on a theory. Play a little dangerous game at guessing what the end could be.
Do you go insane if you
dangerous,
figure it
yes.
out? Instead of just being told.
Exactly.
I should not speak on that.
Noted.
There have been others that we have had to handle because they have realized things or found things that were too close, and they slowly crumbled away until there was nothing left of them.
Describe their ley lines as having emotion behind them, yes?
In some places,
Place.
yes.
Assuming that is the likened phenomenon we're trying to deal with.
It could be.
You went a little soft-spoken.
Apologies. You are gathering a large amount of mana to seal this phenomenon away. Then you are likening the ley lines, some parts of it, to this phenomenon. You have been unable to find a good story behind whatever action you wish to take. we're playing by the rules, that it is not something within our understanding, but instead something that is the rules, or something fundamental.
That is a fair summation of what's been covered so far.
And you talked about the immortal as if he is coated in much magic that it is hard for you to see it. Something similar to that effect. Blinding, almost. Yes? Or is it confusing to look at?
It's more strenuous to look at that much at once.
We've had guild members nearly go blind, turning on mage sight at the island.
Does it get
It's like
easier
I
or
could
harder
not look
with this?
directly at any of our storage either.
Does it get easier to look at him on some days? Or does it get harder?
It is almost always the same.
Okay, let's get into some theories then. You proclaim that the immortal is immune to this, possibly because he has been tempered, because he has seen it, yes?
It is a theory, yes.
How much of the magic that you see is his? Can you confirm that?
All of it seems to originate from him himself. Normally I can see the difference between someone gifted magic from another, say a buff or a boon or energy transferred from one person to another. Although there's no tainting of any other person other than him that I can tell.
Instinct or casted? Is he
You mean, does he
habitually
need components?
coating himself with this dense amount of mana? Or is there some sort of magic that he is performing? It is a
Think
difficult
of it
sorcerer
more like containment. It is a conscious effort to hold what he has close to him and not let it spread.
Okay. How long have you been a mage? I'm assuming since the beginning of your foray into this expedition.
I believe the first one I fought with a sword. But that is easy. Other than that, I only remember casting.
Studied, then, I imagine? Because
I do a lot of
what do you
studying.
think about the phenomenon known as mana? How likely is it that this phenomenon known as mana can be linked to the phenomenon that is bringing about the end of this plane?
I personally
She
believe
did.
that it is very much connected.
She did suppose it would be a being comprised of pure and true mana.
Whether it would
If
be
from memory.
a congregation of a bunch of mana that formed into a being, or a being that leaked out mana and that's how we have it now, I'm not sure which it would be. You had a question.
If your memory's so hazy, how do you know you weren't made to be part of the cult?
It is a good question.
Are you sure you're not just another experiment?
I could be.
Is there
But
any
that does
evidence
not
of
change that I am happy to do what I do now.
Of course not.
Is there any evidence of this being impacting any other plane? The Feywild, the Shadowfell?
Not that I have found.
To your knowledge, is
only
there a
able to
reason
find
none of the
stuff
gods
here.
have warned their people about it? Even in the vaguest of terms?
I am unsure if they would be able to do anything.
The theory that this phenomenon that collected mana and that is the reason why we have mana. And you mentioned that your theory that the end is going to be brought about by an overflow, these ley lines.
It is one idea, one theory.
What is to say that no, that wouldn't really make sense now, would it? But I suppose it's a theory nonetheless. It's something for you to chew on. If we are to assume that we are essentially batteries, bases to hold mana, that this overflow of ley lines is to occur because this phenomenon has achieved sentience in some way or shape or form, because it is mana, it is life. What is to say that we are not meant to return to this phenomenon?
Nothing. I'm not sure. Not really sure if that would be an option. Although it could be. An interesting one.
Does anybody else have any questions that aren't throwing ifs against ifs?
I have a lot of study.
Your question about the gods. I believe the other answer would be that the missing whatever element or power or anything that makes it so that we cannot learn of it might pertain to gods as well. Or in the sense of they wouldn't be able to tell us either.
Why the gods have not warned any of their people, even in vague ways, about what is coming. Anyone else?
You said you were instructed not to fight back. Do you know why? What if we just killed you?
Because there'd be no reason to. Be a waste of your time and mine.
Those are some pretty solid bets.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes?
Now, I'm unsure if this has been answered before. When the Immortal found out about this being, did he say how? whether it was through books, paintings on
I do not have the
walls.
knowledge of how.
Unfortunately, I
I
already asked that one.
theorize and think that he may have either seen it or something relating to it, and it tempered him, so that he would be able to retain the knowledge without as much consequence. I also don't believe that there is no consequence for him holding the knowledge that he does. I believe that his
It's another topic.
physical immortality is one of the side effects of it. But that is just my ideas. I do not have solid proof on that either.
I was going to say, there has to be some reason that he can have the
And in
knowledge,
that time.
but no one else can. No one else can be tempered. Everyone just crumbles away.
I believe others can be tempered. I do not believe that we have found the way to do that.
Successfully, anyways, I imagine.
It is
I have another
very
question.
risky to test.
It's a bit of a specific word for myself, but have you ever referred to this potential phenomena as a maelstrom?
I could see in some ways that word fitting.
Noted. Okay.
Is there anything else? Some of yours seem to be becoming growingly agitated. Understandably.
I think if anyone has any actionable questions other than just throwing theories around that you have no way of answering, we've reached the end of our meetup.
Yeah. Never enough I need to look forward to.
She's gonna put down a lantern. A small act of good faith. We didn't really
Oh, I
have
thought you
a
said
fair
fuck
place
it.
to leave her. Leon, we're done now. Let them take her home.
I'll be waiting until all of my guild has left.
Is there a way to return you back to them?
I can
Or
return
is
myself.
that not a worry? Okay. I want to make sure. Thank you for this.
I am incandescently upset that this could have happened literally any other time. But thank you for your time today.
Some advice for the future. Some people don't need reasons.
I guess that is true.
Lunacore, we are leaving. Leon has something he needs to impart. Please return to the city.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Suffers better spent earlier.
I mean, imagine if this only happened, what, a year ago?
It's appreciated.
Would have been much more appreciated instead of it being thrown onto me now, of all time.
If I may be so selfish, Do you mind if I quickly say something to them that I'd like the Guildmaster to hear and be present for?
We have missed the time.
I'm aware. I didn't want the others to hear.
Let's go home.
If that is the case, I'll listen to your word.
She is a messenger, not an actor.
I know.
This will not be the last time we meet their faction.
I know.
Even a fucking ounce of regret. I mean, what's the point of trying to get regret? They don't remember their name, let alone anything they've done. What do you expect to get out of that?
I think they remember plenty of what they've done. It just hasn't been something they think of as wasted effort. But I suppose that's why they were tapped as the one to speak with us. Unrepentant, but not hateful.
Rational is the word I would use.
And pitiable. Almost pitiable. Since it sounds like they were basically made for this.
And she's a zealot.
That's what I heard.
Supposed to spread the word. What they believe.
That's what I heard too.
What do you need from me?
We're going to the city.
So of
Let's
course
go.
they're faithful. They don't have the choice.
I'm gonna trust you with something that I don't usually give other people. I want you to look it over for me. See what you find in it.
You perfect negotiator.
Let's get going.
Yeah.
The lantern will extinguish when it's done.
I know.
Conjuring Leon's teleportation method,
And
right
we will
now.
call scene there. All right, and we can drop back and get back for a little bit more social before everybody starts fading.
Spirit, I want you to know
to her
how many
knowledge,
times-
Leon was delivering the body of one of their higher ranked individuals that we had in our custody.
There's your
I want you to
lantern.
know how long and how many times I went back at our messages to look at something in specific, Spirit.
Leon, I have so many things to talk about.
Hey, Leon, yeah, I gotta talk to you about something too, buddy.
Not me pressing the funny golden button because I thought you were gonna jump the bitch.
Oh, I watched.
Shrine would be
He was debating it.
I know, and I had 1 minute remaining, and I'm like,
Oh,
don't
you-
do it. I won't be able to stop.
You were concerned about him.
So he didn't think you were getting ready to stop him. He was
He's
like,
organ, he didn't
"What's
know.
stopping us from killing you?"
Get in the
I was,
map.
I put my foot back. I leaned forward.
We're gonna talk once we're in there. We're trying to get everyone in
Okay,
first.
okay.
Yeah, I'll grab you.
They are thousands
Curiosity question. What if you didn't need a reason?
from them.
What if you
What
didn't
if?
need a reason?
I heard that
to,
and I
like,
went,
attack someone?
just went,
She won't.
Cave shrine would
Just a
probably have
question.
upgraded.
Just
well, I
a
wasn't gonna
question.
stop you. I was just gonna fucking try and jump her into the water so she wouldn't get hit.
In
Yeah.
language.
When she said that, you
I
wouldn't,
guess.
it would be a waste of your time and effort. I was half debating of just flying off the rock. And
I was
landing in front of her
looking.
and be
The moment if you stood up
But
and
what
like
if?
leaned forward, I was just gonna sprint at her and like.
Jesus fucking
just
Christ,
fucking
you two.
simultaneously lean forward, play space up dash.
Yeah.
Of just looks like I'm falling off the rock.
Oh,
into a dash.
I was fully because I mean I'm aware of your speed, so I'm just like, the moment he like lurches, it's gonna be he's appearing in front of her. I have to be prepared beforehand.
He Spike just already fucking posed back.
Again, I would have thrown I would have just done the fucking like no. I would have eaten it. I don't care.
Just stop it like right there. Oh, you got there and got me.
I was hoping I had the timer because the speed is what I needed. The speed buff is I wouldn't be able to match you otherwise.
I don't know if you saw it all.
Because he was half debating of like, so you said that you wouldn't fight back, and he was like, does that mean you're free game?
All the experiments and toast and
Like,
I knew your I know your thought process.
Yeah, can we hurt you and the deal's still on?
Problems in the world.
Simple question.
Or being victims.
I didn't do anything.
I also like that I don't think Raleigh was ever super useful. It's just whenever I just tried to like instigate things more. There was a part where I was quiet because I was like, they're tearing each other apart. Like, this is fine.
Situation.
Oh, I should ask, isn't that still
17 and 18 at the start.
This conversation, there's over
Talking
there.
about no, so I
Over there.
rolled again. And
No, I'm not gonna go interrupt that.
in
We need to see if he's still
8
actually willing to
I'm
join the mission
supposed to
back.
beat, but I didn't beat it, so I had to go into the shadows even after that.
Are you doing? You're not the gathering mission.
No,
You're
undead.
Closer, so I
Yeah,
got a good
Opal.
look at her.
That we've been trying to get for the last month.
They smell weird. They smell hella weird.
Weird. You're just weird.
No, they smell weird and
I know, but
they
you're
have
just
Ronan.
weird.
smell. You're a
Ronan, wasn't I
can't
so
say
helpful that
helpful.
entire time? Wasn't I so helpful every question that entire time?
I would every time he spoke, I just went.
Because the entire time I was like, I mean, we could talk about the immortal, we could talk about the end, but I want to hear about you as a person. Why don't you tell me about
I was
yourself?
gonna ask that myself. Like, I was sitting there the entire time, like, the second these fuckers are done, I'm gonna ask what their name is. Too. Who the fuck is this?
Well, Raleigh was just like, I'm kind of a people kind of guy. So what's your name?
Well, so yeah, who
What do you do for? What do you like to do?
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do for
Big
fun?
Leon! Oh, it's gone.
I was actually waiting for you to get closer so I could use your shadow because I was like this close to looking at her. I wanted to circle her because
I saw that you were in my shadow.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bit where Raleigh just sort of went like, and whipped around to look at his own shadow.
I'm just a little guy.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel you.
Don't lie. Yes, you are.
It's okay. I rolled under a 10. I had an anxiety attack.
I can now eat
Oh.
magic. If he goes like rabid, what do you think?
And you know, I thought that if
Yeah.
combat actually got serious, I was gonna hit this button for the first time in like 2 months.
Yeah. Raleigh was just confused about like you're trying all these experiments, except I would understand that if no one's ever succeeded before. But you're led by like the only guy to ever succeed in surviving the information.
You guys have fun.
I'm probably also gonna tap out because my fucking collarbone hurts.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if I don't
I need to ask
Fucking eyes,
Neb.
though.
Is he still here? Where is he? He's in Rebellion.
I have an interesting theory myself, though.
No work right now because I'm very tired and I feel stupid. Does anything that you messaged me, that one message a long time ago, have anything to correlate with what we were talking about that entire time?
And even after learning this information, they still tried a shit ton of things over like a millennia in relation to trying to fix things. Here's my opinion. This motherfucker isn't him. He's not immune. He's a desperate twat who, over thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years, has managed to sit in madness and begin to rationalize things. Experiment, that's my thought. If he had the information, he'd cheer it. I don't think there was a solution.
I mean, I guess that's a
It's been
thought. I
discovered.
think personally, you could tell me about it and I'd be fine.
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying,
real.
dog.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, I've been
Like-
cursed so many times, dude. Just fuck it, we ball, right?
Yeah. I'm already kind of a little crazy. I'm perfectly normal. I bet I'd be fine.
Just give them, give the information to
but
Hersey. If
trustworthy
he's
guy,
fake, he
huh?
can't get interfered with it. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're
right.
fine, yeah.
Her scene's like her. You know, give her scene like half a year. I'll be like 4 other species.
Look, it's fine. He's Fey now. He's not of this plane.
No, eventually I'll hit the.
What are you on about?
He's stroking me.
What are you talking about?
He's stroking me,
That's
dog.
what I'm saying.
He's stroking
Can
me.
you blame him?
He's stroking me.
Stroking,
I mean,
dude.
fuck, I
I'm just
can't.
stroking.
I mean, when I see a muscular man like
Yeah.
that, I mean,
I can't.
I
can't help it.
I'd be weird if I didn't do it. That's the thing. That's the actual reality.
You're right.
Absolutely.
You're cooking on that one. Whoa.
Absolutely.
Why do you oil him up?
without question.
Roll him up with my middle finger. All right, that sounds really weird.
Just oil him up. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Live on Twitch.tv, by the way.
Yeah.
Huh? Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Have some people already gone in?
I don't think so. I think people are I think people are vanishing. I need Neb to confirm if he's actually willing to like go back, like to rejoin the fucking quest or not.
Next week. Time that talk because my eyes what the fuck.
Alright,
I know we talked about it earlier.
I think
but
y'all want to. We're still gonna
Okay,
continue
let's think.
soon if y'all want to.
I'm literally just waiting for my fucking
So, I mean, like,
everything is not doing great right now.
I hoped you liked all my super helpful and insightful questions.
No, is this? Am I fucking
That we're definitely,
and I loved it.
that we're definitely not trying to, like,
Yes, sir.
can we start some?
Dude,
Can we start some?
you said it like I spent 20 minutes because you were talking shit for like 20 minutes. I was like, can I turn it off? No, he still feels like he's gonna do something.
Hold on. Let me show
That's all
off.
right.
I swear you get your snakes, but there was so much.
I just might.
Smell you.
Huh?
Hold up.
I said I don't know where you get your snakes, but there was so much
Let's see
venom.
this drip. Let's have a look at
2
this.
years ago. Hold on.
I mean, I'm just a silly little guy.
Florida is the answer.
Don't you?
I'm just a silly little fuck.
Come on,
I'm just asking a couple questions. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, he dripped
I'm
him.
also
He is
asking
ripped
questions.
out.
I was on
Yeah, but you're asking helpful questions that I couldn't hear because I was across the.
Would it actually be consequences for high if he does end up pushing the limits of what he's trying to learn?
High enough. Hold on. Retry.
Depending on
I
how
did
far
that
you
to his
push.
arm.
There we go.
I did roll
Okay.
his arm.
I'm gonna push it then.
It was kind of funny.
Push it.
Let's go.
I need you to realize you sat up directly into my view
I
wall.
went like this. I went.
Oh, did I?
Oh, hold on. Let me just do this again
I
for
literally
you.
got the anime like a mouth moment of just alright.
I'm gonna
He's
lock
bad
the
off,
fucking
man.
sphere. I'm going
Yeah, let me hit this so that it's on fire so I can just like.
I did that to him once. Ow, fuck.
Yeah.
I did that to him like once, like 3 or 4 times, and like when it was raining in Zakul.
Yep.
It was actually a pretty dramatic match.
It was so dramatic.
I think I was watching
Yeah, of
that,
just
and
like
almost
I was
had to
too.
stop it. But I think you beat me to it. I don't remember. Someone beat me to it.
I
It
definitely
might have been
didn't.
that fucker.
I didn't like run in to interfere. I just went, oh, that's a cool thing he did.
Mark right
How you
here.
figured it out?
Does everybody else here want to continue?
I'm gonna head out. I just wanted to.
Okay, I'm heading out.
before I headed
I
out.
understand.
I just wanted to be more of a shitter. I think I could have made that worse if I just had a bit more time.
Put as a note.
Okay. So are you hopping out as well, Todd?
I'm up. Yeah.
Okay. Then that would be.
I do want to just stop by.
So that'd be like.
Neb, I need you.
I hope
Neb,
you like
Neb, freak. Nebula. Hi. Are you still? Are you
Yes.
actually down for going back on the?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna update the fucking thing again for the second time.
Did someone, the replacement
Alice had to
not
drop.
be able to do it?
What are you doing?
I just want to do the mission, dude. Don't worry.
I do too.
I have no.
Wait, I mean, honestly, if you said
trips.
no, I would have been like,
only-
all right, we're going with 4 people because I want to do this fucking mission.
The fact, it would have happened last week, but
Remember the last
we
day
didn't have
that we
any
went on together?
NPCs.
It was just the big ass tree.
All of my A ranks I've done with
We
you have
usually see what
been.
this
All
one
of my
is.
quests I've done with you are A
Because-
ranks.
Okay.
I've also only
It's gonna
done
be
mostly A ranks and B
slightly
ranks,
fucked
so there's that too.
because Toe's the only
My first mission
actual
was an
genuine
A
You
tank.
say that, but unironically, I
say
kind of.
genuine tank.
Well, you say that I have a stacking damage resistance.
I'm a.
So do I. Oh, I don't have a stacking one, but I have a higher
I am
defense
passively-
against magical and physical.
passively, I have a very similar effect, and then when I go Super Saiyan, I get even more tanky, and this is additional tanky.
Hell yeah.
So I, like, at least in this arm, I am about as tanky as, like, you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how durable I am, because with just his normal body, without any of his gear, he can... Basically, iron swords won't do much to him.
I would say that's a very similar, like... Mine is like a just remove part of the damage that is dealt to me. So I don't...
Steal a little more, but not as much. Because specifically, it's heavy bludgeon damage that does it to him. But
I don't have...
When it comes
I might
to
not be
other
as strong.
things, especially when he has this key armor, he can just eat everything.
Oh, yeah, I mean, when I'm in that form, I can, like, actually eat pretty much anything that isn't, like, a bigger attack. Obviously, that might not matter for, like, the tree,
and then I have my,
but for undead, they can slash at me, and I can kind of just take them.
Defense.
Yeah.
In which I can just eat magic.
Like, I am a tank. The reason I have explicitly denied more defensive enchantments, even though people keep suggesting them to me, is because I'm like, I can only... They will only have so much effect. I can't just become immune to damage.
Yeah.
Like, take a stone skin potion. Do I need that? Over, like, literally anything else?
I love the thing that, I don't think anyone except Leon knows yet.